Yeah. So, yeah, now you know, now you can see how this is kind of what my first drafts look like, and you should never see the first draft of someone's writing. So, this is a sneak peek for everyone, I guess. I kind of wanted to show the people that inspired the story this, and I don't think I can anymore. Anyway, small town Dracsvillie was a peaceful town. It was a modest farming town nestled in nestled by a forest in the valley. It boasted picturesque views. Picturesque views and wonderful nature walks, but it was a bit out of the way for the average traveller. The amount of visitors were enough to keep one B&B open and a restaurant or two. But all is not what it seems, Alexander Helsing knew. He had caught sight of one in the closest city. They mingled with the locals, and he saved a poor man who he had taken home to eat that night. The vampire had fled. Not field, but fled. How do I spell fled? Fled! But Halen? Oh yeah, I remember. I got confused between Van Halen and Van Helsing. This is going well. But Helsing managed to get some of its bloody clothing. After that, all it took was to get his bloodhound to follow the scent. It took him to the train station, and then to a train, and then a bus, and then another train, finally bringing him to Dracsvillie. A name so obvious he pretty much ruled it out as some serious vampire hiding spot. It was a genius. Was it a genius ploy to hide in plain sight, or was it a really stupid vampire named the town a long time ago? Either way, by the time he got there, it was mid-afternoon. He was tired after chasing the vampire all the way through the night, so he went to the B&B. The place was quaint. Sorry. As I said, still a little snuffly, but we're getting there. I'm gonna do myself a favour. Oh, 1 second. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. You're the person who did the bat. Thank you for my cute bat friends. They are adorable. That was the artist, guys. Go check them out. Links are in the description for the record. Yeah. Well. The place was quaint. The same decoration you would expect a grandmother's house, and an amount of smell to boot. Helsing stopped in his way. Signature scowl, but at the delicate feeling of the decor, he felt like he needed to brighten his expression a tad. Well, I hope you get some good deals at the grocery store. More so when the young lady filling in paperwork at the desk looked up and smiled at him. I can't believe how badly I did. I'm so embarrassed. I should have checked this. So most of mine are probably going to look like this. How did they even? Anyway. We're good. Welcome, sir, she called. The bloodhound padded beside him, almost grinning with his tongue hanging from his lips. Aw, he's cute, the girl complimented, and the dog wagged his tail at the attention. Don't tell him too much. It'll go to his head. Helsing joked. The girl laughed. What can I do for you, sir? Do you have a room? He asked. I think so. 1 second. She nodded, then shifted the papers on her desk to unearth her visitor book. Yes! She exclaimed, running her fingers across a line. There's one on the ground floor here. Pet friendly. Splendid. I'll take that. Helsing nodded. Good sir. May I take your name and how many nights you plan to stay? She asked, shuffling a few more papers for a pen and giving him a dramatic click. Alexander Helsing. Just one night, he answered. The young woman paused a moment, then continued writing. Helsing. Like the vampire hunters? She asked with a giggle. We do get your type around with a name like Dracsvillie. Yeah, Helsing watched curiously. Any truth to that name? Oh, not that I know of. Maybe it was just some big joke or something. The woman shrugged. Any truth to your name? Some. Helsing nodded. You don't have to worry about it. I see. She looked concerned for a moment, but quickly smiled. Well, in the best possible way, I hope you come empty-handed. Your room number is 2. My name is Lindsay. Please don't hesitate to find me if you need anything. Thank you, Lindsay. Did I do that? Yes. Helsing gave her a polite nod before he and his hand. He didn't hit the hand. For he and his hand went to his room. Helsing rested for the day, then woke up around evening to make sure he had something to eat. Lindsay was kind enough to say that the house would provide some dog food for his beloved hound, and directed Helsing to one of the local restaurants for dinner. It was a wonderful fish-based place. The vegetables served were all locally grown. Helsing could say he had a wonderful meal. He thanked the staff as he got up to leave, but as soon as he stood, his world felt like liquid, and reality slipped through his fingers. He hit the ground. When he next awoke, he smelled the mild smell of an old person. He felt the oily, soft bed beneath him, and I don't even know, and a lumpy white roof above him. Oh good, you're awake, came a familiar voice. He wasn't restrained, but for some reason Helsing's muscles didn't respond. He just about managed to move his eyes to the voice and saw Lindsay stood up so she could see him better. What? He mumbled, seeing if he could see someone else. He spotted 2 more by the door, waiters from the restaurant he went to. I'm sorry, Mr. Helsing. I don't like to have to do this. But when a hunter like you comes around, we find this is the best way to deal with them, she sighed. A hunter? Yes, the bloodhound and name gave away. At the mention of his hound, Helsing started. Well, your cute boy is just fine. Just asleep. She reassured him, but at this point he wasn't sure what to believe. He glared at her with what minimal strength he had. You, however, are poisoned, and it will kill you in the next half an hour if you don't take the antidote. We have the antidote, and we'll give it to you if you promise to leave this town and never come back. She told him, her bright smile gone for an angered look of seriousness. She wasn't a vampire. That much Helsing knew for certain. His hound didn't react to her. He could feel an aura of blood and ash from her, like he didn't feel an aura of blood. That should be couldn't. He couldn't feel an aura of blood and ash from her like he did the others. He hadn't felt that from anyone he'd met in this town so far. So what? Are they your masters? Are you thralls? Nothing of the sort. The vampires live out of town. I'm so mad at myself for not editing this. The vampires live in our town, are careful around us. They don't even realise we know about them. However, we do. And we know they have protected our town for generations. Hell, they even make a point to going out of town to feed, so we are happy to keep them safe in return, Lindsay explained. So you should know, if you leave and try to come back, the whole town will be on watch for you. And our methods will get worse the more you attempt to harm them. A chill ran through Helsing's spine at the look of nonchalance she gave him. Honestly, he had seen vampires more scary than this woman making that claim. Lethal poison is your nicest method, he questioned. No, but it's the one that works the most. And he could see why. If they had him paralysed, a timer on his life without a weapons or means of defending himself. And his dog. They had his dog. We don't want to hurt either of you, she added, frowning. He sighed. Fine. Helsing took the antidote, waited for it to kick in and get his strength back before leaving that day. At the very least, Lindsay did not charge him for the room, nor did the restaurant for his food. However, every person he passed in town made a point of watching him as he went to the train station. There was no way to get away. Never a moment he could change the situation without hurting innocence. Misguided innocence, but innocence. And that was why Helsing was in the business to begin with. If he was going to get any vampire from Dracsvillie, it clearly wasn't going to be on their home turf. Hey, Lindsay! The door to the B&B opened and Lindsay looked up and smiled at the pale man that walked in. Alucard, handsome as ever! She greeted with a little wink. Oh, you stop that, he waved her off. You're far too young for me. Oh, you keep saying this, yet you still look 25. He pointed a playful accusatory finger at him. She pointed it, not he. He chuckled, awkward. Anyway, Lindsay, I need a bit of a favour. What can I do for you? She asked. You had a guy called Helsing stay here before? He asked cautiously. Helsing? Lindsay frowned in thought. She shuffled the pages at her desk before unearthing her visitor book. There was a large blacked out line on the pages she scanned through. Nope, no one by that name, she reported. Alucard's shoulders slumped with relief. Oh good. Lindsay chuckled. You get into some trouble on your big city business trip, she eyed him. Something like that, he shrugged. Well, be more careful. Tell that whole family of yours to be careful, okay? She wagged an authoritative finger at him. Yes, Sergeant, we will be much more careful with our dealings in the future. Yay! So other than my absolutely freaking terrible editing, it was written with love, and we did say to Fort that when they're written with love, I get to do this. Oh no! It's behind the thing. There we go. Up. Up. Yeah! Book complete! It counts, even if it's terribly edited. It doesn't say it had to be a good book. But anyway, Small Town Dracsvillie was based off some banter from a not small channel called RKG during the Chalice Dungeon trials. They were Chalice Dungeon retry series, yes. They started talking about Twilight and the baseball game they do in the thunder and stuff, and how it's very silly that they do that. And the whole town might actually just be aware of them because they keep away the bad. They don't feed off people, and they keep away bad vampires and stuff. So they coined this idea that maybe the town actually would like to protect them, and this is where Small Town Dracsvillie was born. So thank you, boys. Sorry that I couldn't read that without all these issues coming up. Maybe we'll have some better luck with the next story.